Welcome to the AI Brief from the YPO Technology Network. I'm Stephen Forte. On today's episode, an investor publishes a report card that grades 116 of your software vendors on whether AI agents can actually use them. OpenAI quietly reshuffles its top team to chase those same agents, and Anthropic's CFO drops a number that explains why both of those things happened the same weekend. Let me start with the investor. On Friday afternoon, Jason Lemkin posted what he called the SaaStr agent API report card. Lemkin runs SaaStr, the largest community of software as a service founders and executives in the world. When SaaS CEOs want to know what other SaaS CEOs are doing, they read him. The report card grades 116 enterprise software companies on a single question. Can an AI agent actually use your product without a human babysitter? He used three criteria. Does the company have a real application programming interface, an API, the technical doorway one piece of software uses to talk to another? Does that API support modern AI agent protocols? And does the company support MCP, Model Context Protocol, the emerging open standard that lets an AI assistant like Claude or ChatGPT plug into a business tool the way a USB cable plugs into a laptop? A universal port for agents. 27 of the 116 vendors got an A grade. 89 did not. The top of the list is the part that will get repeated this week. Stripe, the payments infrastructure company that most of your finance teams already use, got an A+. Slack got an A. HubSpot, the marketing and sales software platform, got an A-. Notion, the document and workspace tool, got a B+. The bottom of the list is the part that should worry you. ZoomInfo got a C+. Marketo, Adobe's marketing automation suite, got a C. Gainsight, the customer success platform, got a C. And Workday, the human resources and finance system that probably runs your payroll and your people data, got a D. Take that in for a second. The system that holds your org chart, your compensation data, and your hiring pipeline received a D on whether AI agents can use it. The system that processes your card transactions received an A+. Here is the thing nobody is saying about that scorecard. It is not a list of which software is good or bad. It is a list of which software your competitors will be able to automate around you and which software they will not. If Stripe gets an A+, then a CFO at a competing company can stand up an autonomous reconciliation agent next quarter. If Workday gets a D, then a CHRO trying to do the same thing for hiring or comp analysis is going to spend 9 months and a consulting firm getting there. The agent economy is now sorted. It got sorted on a Friday afternoon by one investor with a spreadsheet, and your vendors are on the curve whether they signed up for it or not. Now let me show you why the timing matters. The same weekend, Lemkin's scorecard was making the rounds. OpenAI quietly reorganized its top team. Greg Brockman, co-founder of OpenAI, the guy who has been with Sam Altman since the very beginning, was put in charge of a unified product strategy whose entire purpose is to merge ChatGPT and Codex into a single agentic platform. Codex is OpenAI's coding agent, the product that writes and reviews software autonomously. 2 days later, OpenAI shipped Codex on iPhone. 2 days after that, they wired up ChatGPT to your bank account through a partnership with Plaid, the financial connectivity company most of you have used to link a credit card to a budgeting app. So in roughly 72 hours, OpenAI moved its co-founder to run the agentic roadmap, put a coding agent in your pocket, and gave the consumer ChatGPT product a path to move money. Here is what nobody at OpenAI is saying out loud about why all of this is happening at once. They are losing the enterprise. Which brings me to Anthropic. Anthropic is the AI lab behind Claude, OpenAI's closest competitor, founded by a group of researchers who left OpenAI in 2021. For most of the last 3 years, Anthropic has been the slightly less famous one, the thoughtful one, the one that always got mentioned second. That ended this weekend. Ramp, the corporate card and spend management company that has visibility into the actual line item spending of tens of thousands of US businesses, published their latest AI index. The headline finding was that Anthropic has passed OpenAI in paid enterprise adoption, not in consumer chat where ChatGPT still rules, in paid business usage, where the budget actually lives. Then on the same weekend, Anthropic's chief financial officer publicly disclosed a number that explains the urgency at OpenAI. Anthropic is now at $30 billion in annualized revenue run rate. 2 years ago, that number was $250 million. So Anthropic has grown its revenue line 120-fold in 24 months. Give them credit for that number. Whatever you think about the rest of the AI industry's projections, and there is a lot to be skeptical about, that is not a press release number. That is a CFO standing behind it, 120-fold in 2 years. Here is my read. The 3 stories of the weekend are not 3 stories. They are one story told from 3 angles. Anthropic is winning enterprise. That is the result. OpenAI is reorganizing around agents and rushing capability into the market. That is the response. And Lemkin's scorecard, that is the playing field. Because once your vendors are publicly graded on agent readiness, every CEO in your peer group is going to ask the same 2 questions at their next operating review. Which of our systems can run agents? Which of our systems cannot? And once those questions get asked, the vendors on the wrong side of the line stop being your software providers and start being your migration project. This is the moment, by the way, when AI moves from interesting to operational. For 2 years, agents have been a thing CIOs talked about in keynotes. As of this weekend, agents are a thing your CFO can grade your vendors on. Different conversation, different room, different decade. If I were sitting in your seat this week, I'd do 2 things. First, I'd take Lemkin's scorecard, find your top 10 vendors on it, and look at where they sit. You do not need a project. You do not need a working group. You need a printout in 20 minutes. The vendors that scored A or A- are companies you can build agentic workflows on top of this quarter. The vendors that scored C or D are ones you should be quietly asking, what is your MCP roadmap? What is your agent API timeline? And what happens if my competitor automates this category before you do? Second, and this is the one most CEOs will miss, I'd pay attention to which of your vendors are silent. Lemkin only graded the ones with at least some agent posture to grade. The truly dangerous vendor right now is the one that did not even make the list. If your industry-specific software, your construction ERP, your medical billing system, your wealth management platform did not get a grade because no one asked, that is also useful information. It means nobody is yet automating around it, which means somebody will, and probably soon, and probably not your current vendor. 2 years ago, the question on AI was whether your company was paying enough attention to it. Last year, the question was whether your team was experimenting with it. This year, the question is whether your software stack can be operated by something other than a human. Anthropic answered for itself. OpenAI is in the middle of answering. Lemkin just made the rest of the answers public. Your vendors are on the curve. The only thing you get to decide is whether you read the report card before your competitors do. That is the YPO Tech Network AI brief for Tuesday, May 19th. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, send it to a fellow member. I will be back Wednesday with more. Until then, stay sharp.